I want to give you my unpopular opinion about certain tropes in books. And you may disagree with me, and that's okay, right? Because at least for right now, we still have First Amendment rights. You never know, these things keep changing. But one of my biggest tropes, which is something that has been happening a lot recently, is the use of the word. Now, I'm not going to say it, so I'm going to put it on the screen. But this word irks me to no end. And I know I'm not the only one because I see the girlies talking about it in the Facebook groups, right? I, as a black woman, okay, as a black woman of over 40 years, this word describing the male anatomy, I don't like it in the book. I just don't. Like, I know there are people who will stop reading books because they see that word. I'm not going to say I'm one of them, but it makes me look at the author like, we have words that we use as a culture. Why are you using this word? That's all I'm going to say, because I don't feel like that's a word for us. I'm just saying that's just my unpopular opinion. If you agree, let me know. My next unpopular opinion is when in certain erotica books, they have this Dom figure who is usually a male and they're calling him daddy. And he's calling the person who is usually his age, maybe a little bit younger, little girl. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know what it is. I just do not like it. Like, you have this grown woman calling this man daddy. And I don't know. For me, it just feels weird. It just does. And then to have him calling her little girl, I rarely see the opposite in books. Like, I actually recently, I did have one book where, um, there were two people, there was a married couple, and then they had a person who was in their anniversary with them. And she was calling both of them mommy and daddy. That was still weird because it was a very sexual thing happening. I don't know. It was weird to me. So I'm just saying, to me, that is weird. My third unpopular opinion is authors that put the word female in their books when they're describing women because they don't say male. Now, the only time I think that this is different is if I'm reading like a sci-fi or fantasy book. And so it makes sense to say the female whatever character because they might not be human. But when I read books, especially sometimes like the urban fiction books, urban romance books, they'll have women and then they'll have females. And then you have this character, usually the men, who are calling women females. Like, I don't deal with them females or something, something, something. And it's in the books, it's used to designate like who gets the respect. So the females don't get respect because they're hoes, they this, they that. But then the women in the books are the ones who get the respect because they feel like they, whatever it is. I don't know how they differentiate between how they get respect. Bullshit. But I will say that when I see that, that usually will turn me off in a book. I remember I was reading one book and it turned me off because I am a girl's girl. And in the book, the main character female, okay, main character female, I would say that, was describing how she doesn't have women friends because she didn't say women friends. She said, I don't deal with females because they're always jealous of things. And so I don't deal with females. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just head out. Like, I'm good. I try to do my best to read certain things, and be open-minded, but I can't. My next unpopular opinion is you should not have anybody like R. Kelly, Robert Kelly, in your books. You should not. Because if you are a romance writer and you are writing something and you're talking about Robert Kelly, it could be you talking about his music, it could be singing his music or anything like that. In the year of 2026 of Blue Ivy, what are you doing as a romance writer who is specifically a Black romance writer who's writing for Black women, knowing that this person is a person who was a predator to young Black girls? What are we doing? And I've seen that I think a handful of times in books, and I definitely DNF'd the book because a character was trying to give a valid reason why they should listen to Robert Kelly. And I'm like, what is the reason? Like, what is ever a valid reason to listen to a song about a child, a sexual song about a child? Like, what would be the reason for that? And I know y'all be like, take the art and the artist and separate them, but when has that ever happened? Like, art is is subjective, yes, but art is a very emotional, as an artist myself, art is something that we take and we ingest it, and it changes how we feel about ourselves. It changes our outlooks on life. It changes a lot of things. And to know that this person was singing about young Black girls and you were okay with that, I can't. The door, the door, the door. My next unpopular opinion may piss some people off, but at this point, it is what it is because it's my opinion. I really have issues when you have these stories of like the billionaire, right? And they don't even have to be a billionaire, but I'm gonna say billionaire because that's the big trope that I see a lot of now. But you have a billionaire and you have this woman who is down on her luck or just in general. And the guy is like, okay, I'm gonna pay whatever. I'm gonna pay your rent for a year. I'm gonna buy you a car. I'm gonna be whatever. And then you have this person who's like, I don't need it. I can take care of myself. If you don't take this money, if you don't what? I never understand that in these books. I never understand that. I don't, and they're like, I don't need charity. Pay my rent. Okay. Give me a car. Okay. And it's always weird to me because you have this person who is like, for that person to buy a car, pay for your mortgage, whatever, that's a drop in the bucket if they had the money that they have in these books. And you are upset because they paid money that shows them for you. It's like, I'm showing you that I care about you and I'm showing that I'm meeting your needs. And so I'm going to do this for you. So that's one less thing you have to stress about, you have to worry about, and you get mad about it. Like there are other things you could get mad about, but I feel like that's not one of them. I really do. And it's not just the millionaires. I'm billionaires. I see it with millionaires. I see it just in general. Like, why are you mad that this person is trying to relieve stress from you? I know y'all be saying soft girl life, soft girl era, soft girl this. That's one less thing you got to worry about. My next unpopular opinion is something that really irks my soul. When it comes to dark romances, I understand that, this is supposed to be a book that has some like gray moral areas or just no morals at all, right? And then I understand that there may be like a murder, some torture, some terror, some primal play, like some things that happen. But what I will never get down with is, why does the main character male, because that's usually who it is, have to abuse the main character female? Like, I get that this is a dark romance, but why does it have to be that? Why does he have to abuse her physically, emotionally, financially, verbally, and then you call that dark romance? To me, that's not dark romance. When I'm thinking about dark romance, I'm thinking that he is like, no one can touch her. She has to have security with her all the time, or like, say if something happens to her that is horrendous or horrible, he goes out and finds that person and like brings her a trophy from that person, which could or could not be, a body part. I don't know, something like that, but not to be her like terrorizer. I don't get that. I don't understand that. I actually recently had to DNF a book because of that. There was one book that I read all the way through, honestly. And this was a sci-fi book, and it was really weird to me, but I finished it because it was a part of a series where there was like this group of humans, and some of them had advanced into something else. I don't even know what you would call them. And the premise of the book was, which is really, now that I think about it, kind of like what I feel like could happen here. But there was like this big explosion, everybody went to war with each other, and then the earth was kind of like decimated. And so because of that, certain factions of humanity evolved into something else. And then the others who did not were put in like a type of stasis type of situation. And when they got out of that stasis type situation, the ones who had advanced and become these different things took them and kind of made them like slave labor. And the ones who did not go into like a stasis were already like a slave labor type of thing. And the main character female falls in love with her human trafficker. And it was weird to me because he did abuse her. Like, I think he put, I can't remember what he did. It was something with, I think he burned her or some shit. And then later on in the book, they develop a relationship. And I guess it'll be interspecies relationship. I don't know, because he technically wasn't human. But I remember just reading that and being like, I don't know if I like this. I don't no. Like, I really wanted to get through it because I wanted to finish the series, but it kind of put it not kind of it put a bad taste in my mouth. And so now when I'm reading books, I just DNF one like that recently, and that was like, who wrote this? Because the premise was something similar where you had these evolved humans and then these humans who then became their pets, and same thing, like they were abusing them. And I think I got to like 30%. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not about to read this. And it was weird. And I'm just like, I understand everyone has what they like to read, but I can't get down with, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but uh, taking women against without their consent. Like, I can't not, and that's supposed to be your love interest later on. Like, I can't do that. That's not my jam. So that definitely is for me going to be maybe it's not an unpopular opinion. I know some of y'all, I don't know, but I can't do it. But thank you for listening to my unpopular opinions when it comes to the romance books. And I want to thank you if you've been here following along with me in this journey of trying to make like a long form video every day as it pertains to romance. If you have a certain video that you would like to see, please let me know, because I have a whole playlist of things that I talk about when it comes to romance books. And as always, you are your longest and most expensive relationship. Any money or time that you spend on being your favorite version of yourself is never money or time wasted. And until next video.